There we have unit 3, society. If you have your books, please put them away or close the tab. Let's start working with only the presentation in Zoom. What do you guys see in the pictures?
Like people.
Yeah, go ahead.
People crossing the street, probably in Tokyo. I think that is the famous way that they cross. I think in this part of Tokyo, it looks like that. I'm not sure, but or China, it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people, right? And what else? A guy studying, a man with a baby, and this. Hello, Leslie.
Hello, teacher.
Hi. In Unit 3, you will talk about different social pressures. You will use participle clauses to link ideas. You will add emphasis with only, even so, that, and such that. Change your view as you speak. Use even so and even then to introduce a contrasting idea. So right now we're going to start with the first thing. Lesson A, social pressures. What do you guys see in the pictures?
People with problems.
People with problems. Well, the title of the lesson is social pressures. So what do you think with the title? What do you think this picture means? Who do you think? Yeah, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa.
I think it's inviting you to get married, like to take the plunge and have a family and all of that. I think so.
But what is this invitation? This is an invitation? It doesn't look like an invitation, does it?
Yes, I think so. There are invitations like that.
All right, good. But who is that? Who might that be?
Society, people, parents.
Society. So society, parents, people is inviting him to do what?
To get married.
To get married, right? Only to get married?
And have children, and 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then why too many. Always this social pressure. Why you are single, why you're married, why you are divorced, why you are always there's a question about that.
Society. Oh my goodness. What about this girl? What do you think the invitation is for? Let's take a look at the next picture. Now we have a cartoon. And we have many comments. Go on. Don't. You have to. Do it. I want you to. Come on. Who is saying these things? Who is talking to her?
People.
People, all right. What kinds of pressure do people have in their lives?
About work, study, family.
About what?
Work, study, family.
Work, studies, family, that's right. Is that it? Okay. What kind of pressure is this? This is the famous peer pressure. But what does peer mean? Where does it come from? What does it do? Did you guys? Yeah, go ahead, Felipe. Go ahead.
In a company is the people that has the same level that you, the same level in an organizational chart. So they are not your boss. They are not your employees, I would say, but they stay in the same level that you. So your peers, your colleagues, I don't know, something like that.
All right, good. So peer is basically the people that study with you, work with you, or spend time with you. It could be your friends, your classmates, your coworkers, your neighbors. All right, so peer pressure. Do you have peer pressure, guys? What about this? What kind of pressure is this? What about this? And this. What are some of the social pressures you've resisted? Can you share, guys?
Getting married, maybe.
Yeah, you have resisted getting married?
Yeah.
Extravaganza from everybody? My goodness, you're a hero.
Or having kids or something like that.
All right, having kids. What about you, Felipe?
More or less the same thing, but I would say that I don't care about too much, at least, about what people said. Of course, it could be like uncomfortable, but I mean, I know that this thing happens and they can say everything, but I think you need to follow what you want. So, and everybody has a different, I don't know how to say, but to the way of living, I mean, a different speed also. And it doesn't have to be like the same, you know, like have a family, children, a car, and a house, and a dog. You don't have to have all of that, like this traditional way of living. I think is you're always going to hear many things, especially from your family, that are the most important comments that you can receive. But I really don't pay too much attention to these comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. What about Leslie?
Well, I think people used to push me a lot for But now, so I used to do that, but it's not like if I like. So I think that will be maybe.
Okay. Very good. So, we're waiting for Edith and Ariadna, right? There you go. So let's go for the next one. Listen. We have 3 people here. What do you think her name is?
Chelsea?
Chelsea. Yeah. Then we
It's
also
Chelsea.
have Chelsea and Victor and
Jinsu?
Jinsun. Listen, all right?
One, Chelsea, 30, Toronto, Canada, designer.
Growing up, I was always branded a rebel, which is a little unfair. I guess, though, that I've never really conformed to social norms, being single and not having had any children at the ripe old age of 30. I just never met anyone working as hard as I do. But having built up a successful career, I'm happy with my life choices. People say, "Oh, you'll regret it when you're old and lonely." But looking around, I see plenty of elderly people with families who are still lonely.
2, Victor, 36, Cancun, Mexico, ex-PR consultant and restaurant owner.
I recently decided to get out of the rat race, having been in it most of my adult life. I'd been thinking about doing something different, but then I got laid off and was offered a generous severance package. So, presented with a golden opportunity to change my life, I bought a small restaurant here. Working in the PR industry, people are under enormous pressure, to look good, have the right clothes, and be perfect, which is really stressful. Not to mention the work hours. I got out. I'm earning less now running this place, but I just know I'll be a lot happier going forward.
3, Chin Sun, 23, Seoul, South Korea, businesswoman.
Thinking about it, this is probably going to sound silly, but I feel tremendous pressure to have an active social life. I don't have that many friends compared to my co-workers, or so it seems. I dread Fridays when they ask if I'm going out with friends on the weekend. And speaking of friends, with social networking, you're supposed to have hundreds of them, and I don't. I mean, not wanting to be rude or anything, I can't see how you can have that many friends, really.
All right, now that you listen to the audio, which was about the same, the peer pressure. What are the social pressures they describe?
Can we listen the audio again?
Can you repeat, Leslie, please?
Yes, please.
I'm sorry, Leslie, I didn't understand you. Can you repeat one more time?
I can hear good the audio. So yeah.
Sure. But
Please.
first, let's check with Dario and Felipe. Guys, what did you hear?
Well, in the first one, she talks about having a family, not having a family. or being.
Having a family. Okay. Only? Is that it? What about number 2?
I think in number 2 is related to his new occupation as a PR. So it was like the way he dressed, like all the appearance that they need to have to show. But now it's a restaurant owner because he was laid off, and now is like earning less money, but he is like happier.
Okay, good. So what would that be? Work pressure or peer pressure or social pressure, economic pressure, academical pressure?
I would say
Work
that,
pressure.
yeah, exactly, work pressure.
What about number 3?
I couldn't hear the number 3 properly.
Would you like to listen again?
It was cutting out. Yes, please.
All right. Who resisted? How or why? So let's listen again and try to find some answers to these questions, okay?
1. Chelsea, 30, Toronto, Canada, designer.
Growing up, I was always branded a rebel, which is a little unfair. I guess, though, that I've never really conformed to social norms, being single and not having had any children at the ripe old age of 30. I just never met anyone working as hard as I do. But having built up a successful career, I'm happy with my life choices. People say, "Oh, you'll regret it when you're old and lonely." But looking around, I see plenty of elderly people with families who are still lonely.
2. Victor, 36, Cancun, Mexico, ex-PR consultant and restaurant owner.
I recently decided to get out of the rat race, having been in it most of my adult life. I'd been thinking about doing something different, but then I got laid off and was offered a generous severance package. So, presented with a golden opportunity to change my life, I bought a small restaurant here. Working in the PR industry, people are under enormous pressure, to look good, have the right clothes, and be perfect, which is really stressful. Not to mention the work hours. I got out. I'm earning less now running this place, but I just know I'll be a lot happier going forward.
3. Chin Sun, 23, Seoul, South Korea, businesswoman.
Thinking about it, this is probably going to sound silly, but I feel tremendous pressure to have an active social life. I don't have that many friends compared to my co-workers, or so it seems. I dread Fridays when they ask if I'm going out with friends on the weekend. And speaking of friends, with social networking, you're supposed to have hundreds of them, and I don't. I mean, not wanting to be rude or anything, I can't see how you can have that many friends, really.
All right, guys, please ask and answer the questions. What are the social pressures they describe? Who resisted? How or why? Please.
On the third one, Chin Sun says about having pressures or having pressure for having an active social life.
Like that?
Social life pressure, having a social life.
What, Leslie? Can you repeat?
And social life pressure.
Social life pressure, okay.
In the first one, about what are the social pressures they describe, she described she have theory, she has theory, and she never was interested in having a family because she never met anyone like she who
Like her.
like her.
Okay. Thank you. Somebody else?
About the question, who resisted? I don't understand that, but I think it's Chelsea, I think it's Victor, and I Chinso, or I don't know. What is the answer of that one?
Who resisted the pressure?
Yeah.
For example, having the pressure, having a family, the work pressure, having an active social life pressure. Who resisted? You have a good answer. If you say everybody, like Chelsea, Victor, and Jinsoon, it's okay.
Okay.
Dario, any input?
On the same page, I say Chelsea and Victor resisted, but I'm not sure about Chinsu.
Okay. Well, now, if you have your books, you can open them. And if not, I'll show you the dialogue and present to you the audio one more time.
1. Chelsea, 30, Toronto, Canada, designer.
Growing up, I was always branded a rebel, which is a little unfair. I guess, though, that I've never really conformed to social norms, being single and not having had any children at the ripe old age of 30. I just never met anyone working as hard as I do. But having built up a successful career, I'm happy with my life choices. People say, oh, you'll regret it when you're old and lonely. But looking around, I see plenty of elderly people with families who are still lonely.
2. Victor, 36, Cancun, Mexico, ex-PR consultant and restaurant owner.
I recently decided to get out of the rat race, having been in it most of my adult life. I'd been thinking about doing something different, but then I got laid off and was offered a generous severance package. So, presented with a golden opportunity to change my life, I bought a small restaurant here. Working in the PR industry, people are under enormous pressure, you know, to look good, have the right clothes, and be perfect, which is really stressful. Not to mention the work hours. I got out. I'm earning less now running this place, but I just know I'll be a lot happier going forward.
3. Chin Sun, 23, Seoul, South Korea, businesswoman.
Thinking about it, this is probably going to sound silly, but I feel tremendous pressure to have an active social life. I don't have that many friends compared to my co-workers, or so it seems. I dread Fridays when they ask if I'm going out with friends on the weekend. And speaking of friends, with social networking, you're supposed to have hundreds of them, and I don't. I mean, not wanting to be rude or anything, I can't see how you can have that many friends, really.
There. What are the social pressures they describe? What will the first one be? in your opinion? Chelsea, what pressure is she talking about?
Family pressure?
Will this be family pressure?
Yeah, because people expect she have children at that age.
That wouldn't be family pressure, right? Because family pressure will come from the family. Well, maybe it was from the family. Maybe it was from her father or her mother. Maybe her friends. We don't know, but it was about. When she talks about being single, she talks about getting married, right?
Right.
Getting married and having children. What about for Victor? What was the pressure? His pressure was to look good, have the right clothes, and be perfect. What about number 3? What is her pressure?
Have an active social life.
To have an active social life. Perfect. That's great. Now, who resisted?
Well, I would say Chelsea and Victor.
Chelsea and Victor. What about Jinsun?
I think Chelsea and Jinsun resisted because Victor go out her work.
Got out.
Got out.
Victor got out.
And
so he didn't resist?
no, I don't pretty sure about that. He resisted for other meaning.
Okay. And Jinsun? The friends is to have an active social life, but she doesn't have that many friends. Does she resist the pressure? Okay, let's leave it like that. How or why? Yeah, we already went over it, so that's good enough. Which of the pressures in the article are common in your society?
All of them. I mean, it's part of the society.
Thank you, Mr. Darío, Leslie?
The same thing. Yes, the same thing. I mean, not that much looking good all the time, but it's a part of it, at least some level of it.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Leslie?
In my case, keep active social life.
Okay, thank you, honey. To have an active social life. All right, good. So you can complete this phrase in your opinion. I don't think there's a lot of pressure to do what? Maybe as an example, have babies. I don't think there's a lot of pressure to have babies, but I do think people feel pressure to go to college, get a new job, buy your own house, buy the newest cell phone, have the biggest TV or car. What do you think, guys?
I think it depends on the person. I don't know. For me, it's difficult to say if there's a lot of pressure to something or not. A lot, I don't know, but there's pressure. So in some way, yeah.
Thank you, mister. Okay, Felipe, Leslie. I'm sorry. Darío, Leslie. Nothing, guys?
No, sorry, teacher.
Okay. So here we have babies. What is this? Get married. Buy a house. Graduate. Study. Get a job. So anything? Okay. In that case, let's go for the next one. Grammar linking events. How do people in the article on page 30 express ideas below? Rewrite the clauses in bold, then read the grammar chart. We have the clause, when I look around. How is it in her story? How did she say this? When I look around. How does she say, because I'm single and haven't had any children? How does she say that? I'll show you the article.
Being single and not having had any children.
When I look around, is right here.
But looking around.
Looking around. Yes. Only 2 words. It goes from when I look around, a complete clause, to a 2-word. Looking around. I see plenty of elderly people with families who are still lonely. What about number 2? Who says that?
Chelsea as well.
Chelsea as well. Being single and
Not having.
not having had any children. What is this, guys? What do you call this in grammar?
Gerunds.
Participle clauses. This is one complete clause. And that is the same as this. So basically, we are reducing clauses using gerunds. Participle clauses. You can use participle clauses to link events and add information. That's what a participle clause is for. Link events and or add information about time or reason. the subject of the participle clause and the main clause is usually the same. Let's take a look at that. The same. Here we have a participle clause, growing up. But who is the subject? The same as the main clause subject. What is the main clause? This one. I was always branded a rebel. Who is the subject? I. I is the subject of that gerund, that participle. So growing up, I was always branded a rebel. What does this mean? You can say, I can hide this. Oh my gosh. I was always branded a rebel, and continue the sentence when I was growing up. There. Or you can say it before, when I was growing up, comma, I was always branded a rebel. What is branded?
Being considered, being called.
Perfect, yes. So this is one complete clause or the reduction of one. But this reduced clause, now what is it? Is it extra information? Is it time or reason? What would it be? Hello, Ariadna.
Maybe extra information. It is adding information.
Yes, this is added information. When I was growing up, that means a little context.
Hello, teacher. Sorry
Okay.
for interrupting
Hello.
you. I'm get cold, so I won't talk much. So much.
Okay, Ariadna. Now, what we have here is something as an the appositive. I believe it's the appositive. This now works as a description of the subject, even though it's actually giving a moment in time. But it's working as an adjective, growing up. The next one, I never met anyone working as hard as I do. What is this? Because
she works hard.
Yes. So what is this?
Reason.
Is a result of this, right? Now we have a consequence, maybe. And the next one. Having built up a successful career, I'm happy with my life choices. Is that extra information or a reason? Or a result, maybe, huh? It's a result. Or what do you think? The next one, I've never conformed to social norms, not having any children. What is this?
A reason, I think.
A reason. No, that's not a reason. I've never conformed to social norms, not having any children. Again, we are describing the subject,
Okay.
I. But what is it describing? A reason or a cause? Actually, this is describing an example. Not having any children. We can say here, I have never conformed to social norms like having children.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
what this is saying is giving the example. But in this example, the subject is not included. It's a general example. But this is an example in first person. So instead of like having any children, it would be like, I've never conformed to social forms. Like, I don't have children. Or like, I haven't had any children. Yes.
Yes, I got it. Yes.
Perfect. Yes. All right. Good. Excellent. Who says this? Do you remember who says this?
I would say Chelsea said that.
Yeah, that's
no.
right. It's Chelsea. It is Chelsea. This is another example.
Okay.
Now let's take a look at Victor. Does he use the participle? Does he use participle clauses?
Yes.
Can you mark them, please?
Having been in the most of adult life and working in the PR industry.
Thank you. Thank you. Continue, Mr. Continue.
I mean, I think that's all.
Did you mark the second one?
Yes, working in the PR industry.
They're working in the PR industry. So, what do you think it means? The first one. Having been. And we have the main clause. The main clause is, I recently decided to get out of the rat race. That is the main clause. This is the participle clause. What does the participle clause mean?
That he has been in the rat race for most of his adult life.
So this will be, the main clause will be like a result, or not as much as a result, but a sequence, right?
Okay.
Like an event after the other one. So having is also another way to say will be after. So you can say, I recently decided to get out of the rat race after being in it most of my adult life. That's another way. Or having been in it. Yeah. What about the next one? Working in the PR industry. The main clause is people are under enormous pressure. So if that's the main clause, what does the participle clause mean? Maybe this is an explanation or a reason for, or a consequence. Or actually the main clause is a consequence. So you can say when people work in the PR industry, in the second class, we would replace people with they. So when people work in the PR industry, they are under enormous pressure. Or simply working in the PR industry. Who is the subject of this class?
People.
People. So if people is a subject, what is this sentence now? The complete sentence or the complete phrase is an adjective of the subject. It's a brief description of the subject we're talking about. Okay. Let's take a look at, what's her name? Shin-sun. Is she using the participle clause? Thinking about it, yes. Speaking of friends, good. Now, what does the first one mean? Thinking about it, who is the subject of this participle clause? Okay. The subject of the clause is I. But why is it so far? Why is it so distant? Do you know? What do you think this is? This is probably going to sound silly. What do you think that is?
It is adding information, I'd say.
Adding information of?
The participle clause, I'm not sure.
What is this? What is that? What does she refer to with the word this? With the word this, she's referring to the comment. I feel tremendous pressure to have an active social life. The whole comment, the whole opinion, the whole idea, the whole statement. That's what this means. What is this? Over here, the statement. This is probably going to sound silly. That's why it's inside commas, because it's a description of the comment. Yes?
Okay.
But who is the subject of the participle clause? The subject of the participle clause is I.
Okay.
Because this is probably going to be silly or sound silly, is another type of comment describing the future comment to be. I hope I'm not confusing this too much.
But teacher, I have a comment.
Yes.
On these cases, I think thinking is also a subject. Is it?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
I mean, we don't need, I mean, it's referring, as you said, the person who made the action, but thinking is a subject and speaking
Correct.
also.
And speaking also. That is correct. When you have a gerund, let me erase the red one. I'm going to keep the orange one. The red one. When you have a gerund and you don't have the verb be, no verb be, no am, no are, no is, no was, no were, is a subject like Felipe says. But when is it a subject? It's a subject when you have a verb with it. For example, studying is important. Eating takes time. So when you have a gerund and a verb, then the gerund is a subject. But what happens when your gerund doesn't have a verb? So it
It's
takes
a clause. It's a clause, as you said, right?
That's a clause. That's correct. That's a clause. So it's important to find out where the subject is because sometimes the subject in the sentence will be different. And yes, in this situation here, thinking about it, and then she gives a brief description of the comment she's about to make. This is probably going to sound silly, but I feel tremendous pressure, etc. She could say, but I feel that my friend has. Then she states a different subject. So yes, thinking about it like that will refer to a first person. It will always be I. And the same is with the speaking. Now, speaking will always involve at least two people. Speaking won't be only with one. With one, only one person, no second person with whom you are addressing your thoughts is thinking to yourself only. But when you have another person and you're sharing opinions, then it's speaking of. And that the subject will more likely be we. You, my friend, the other person, and I, it's speaking all together. So I'm speaking of friends. So this is the object and etc. But at the same time, this is a participle class. Can I erase all the notes? Yes? All right.
Yes.
Is this okay, guys? Or did I revolve it too much? Because it's actually a lot easier than I made it sound. If you allow me to share with you this little chart, I hope it's easier. We use it when you want to give reason, a result, a condition, a time, or a sequence. And we compact a complete clause into a participle clause. The complete clause, when it's reason, is because. A reason is because. Because he's a student, he can get a discount on rail travel. And what is the participle clause of this? Being a student. There you go. As a result, a snowstorm covered the motorway. The result was that, here we have a clause. Dozens of drivers were trapped in their cars. Here we have Dozens of drivers were trapped. We have two verbs or one verb in passive. And in the result over here, we have a snowstorm covered the motorway, comma, trapping dozens of drivers in their cars. Now, this is not passive. And this is the adjective for the drivers or the storm.
The storm, no?
The storm, yes. The storm will be the subject of that clause. The other example is condition. If you give it enough water and sunlight, who is it? After the comma, you find it. The plant.
The plant.
The plant will grow to 3 meters. It can be done in passive because now given enough water, well, we have the object. What is the object? The plant.
Plant.
Who is the subject? Is not given. I mean, it's not in the text, it's not in the clause. In the first clause, the subject is you. But when you transfer to a participle clause, the first subject disappears and we're only having a passive participle clause. And the other one, as I walked into the room, I noticed the flowers by the window. This is a sequence. As I walked or walking into the room, I noticed the flowers by the window. So what do you think? Is that better?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. All right, good. So I have more examples. She was talking to her friend and forgot everything around her. We have two clauses. She was talking to her friend. We have a connector. And then we have another clause. Forgot everything around her. In the second clause, we have the verb. Who is the subject?
She.
She, right? How do we know it's she? Because of the connector.
Right.
So we can use a participle clause. Even though it's in past continuous, we can use a participle clause. So it's
talking to her friend, comma.
Yes.
She forgot everything around her.
That's good. And who is the subject of the first clause?
She.
The subject is she. There you go. Yeah, that better? Is that better?
Yes, much better.
All right, perfect. So let's do the next one, number 2.
Watching the news every day.
Yes.
We know what's going on in the world. Right.
That's great. Now let's take a look. Can you guys write? Can you guys type?
Yes.
All right, let's see who wants to do number 3.
Being vegetarian, don't eat meat.
Can you repeat that, Leslie, please?
Being vegetarian. Oh, they don't eat meat.
Good. Can you type it, please?
No, someone type it in.
Type it on the chat and I'll transfer it. Oh, there you go, Daria. Thank you very much, mister. Being vegetarians, they don't eat meat. Perfect, mister. Thank you. Who wants to do number 4?
Me?
Go right ahead, mister.
I'm horrible writing and just, so I'm sorry.
That's all right, mister. You're on a computer, right?
Yes.
Did you find the text mode, the text button?
Yeah, I'm doing it. What I mean is it's going to take me a long time to do it.
It's
right?
all right, mister. It's
Be
okay.
patient.
Well, while you do number 4, who wants to do number 5? Perfect. That was good. That's great, mister. Okay. Ariadna, would you like to do number 5?
Tidying up her room, she found some old photos.
That's right. What about number 6? Yes, Dario, that's correct. That is correct. While tidying up her room. Let's see. Felipe, can you do number 6 or 7? Whichever you want. Just let us know.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes, mister, go ahead.
About number 5. I wrote, I used while tidying up her room. Is it okay if I do that?
That's right. I think it would be like with an I.
All right. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
It's all right, mister.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I can do number 6. So.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. I hear typing and I'm waiting, but I don't see any results.
I'm not typing. I'm not typing.
Ariadna, are you typing?
No, it's me.
Okay. Then I guess I was waiting. So let's see number 6. He was a good boy and helped his mother in the kitchen. Oh, are you typing, mister? Ah, you have it. Being a good boy, he helped his mother. Yes, number 7. Thank you, Dario. Beautiful. And number 8. This is in the form of a question, so it will be the same. Sitting in the cafe, comma, was he reading a paper? And we can also switch it. We can put, was he reading a paper, comma, sitting in the cafe? Comma. There. Okay, I have another one. Let's just talk about it. Let's, Felipe, can you give us number 1, please? Only speaking.
Okay, just a moment, please. I think I don't see very well like the first one, but I will try that. Okay. Right, asking his mother permission, the boy went out to play.
Yeah, so just asking his mother's permission, the boy went out to play. Yeah. Number 2, Leslie. No, Leslie.
No.
What about you, Dario?
Okay, let's see. Having drunk too much, he didn't drive home himself.
That's right. Having drunk too much. Ariadna, can you do number 3?
Sure, okay. Having writing to test today, so we are excited. Is that way?
Actually, having written.
Okay, having written to test today, so we are very.
No comma, no so.
Okay. Having reading, having written to test today, we are very exhausted.
Yes. Thank you. Leslie, can you do number 4?
Filling washing machine.
One more time, please.
Filling washing. Oh no.
Yes.
Filling.
Yes, filling.
The washing machine.
Switch
it on.
No.
She switched it on.
One more time, please.
Filling the washing machine, she switched it on.
Yes. No? Is that? Okay. Let's see, Darío, could you do number 5, please?
Yes. Having been to the disco the night before, she overslept in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Felipe. Number 6.
Not having a sleep for 2 days. She wasn't able to concentrate.
Perfect, Mr. Perfect. Ariadna, number 7.
Okay. It's the last one, right?
Yes, the last one.
Having not see him.
Is different.
Since having not see him.
No, not yet.
Oh.
Because this is a complete clause. So
Okay.
what we're doing is that you're reducing this into a participle clause.
Entonces, ¿cómo sería? Es que sí, a ver, esa parte ya la perdí. ¿Me podría explicar, profesor, por favor?
Sure.
Otra vez. Can you explain me, please, again?
So we have that is a past participle verb. Yeah, it's a past perfect. So imagine we don't have the negative expression. So I had seen him. And in the participle, having seen him. Okay, that would be it. But it's a negative sentence. How do you turn the participle clause into a negative sentence? How do we do that?
Having not see him. Not having see him. Not having see him for age. I didn't recognize him.
One more time, please.
Okay. Not having see him for age.
Seen him.
Seeing. Not having seen him.
Seen
him for age.
Ages. Ages.
For ages. Es que mi garganta, perdón. Not having seen him for ages, I didn't recognize him.
Okay, good. So now, please, this is in your book. Let's take a look at this in conversation box. In conversation, expressions like generally speaking, thinking about it, bearing in mind, speaking of, and talking of are participle clauses. But they often have a different subject from the main clause. Bearing in mind the economy. What is bearing in mind, guys? Considering, thinking of, thinking about, having present, being aware of. That's bearing in mind. Bearing in mind the economy. It's no wonder people feel pressured. So complete the things that people say about pressures in life. Write participle clauses using the verbs given. Sometimes there is more than one answer. Now, number 1, we have the verb be, a woman. What is the participle?
Being.
Easy, being. What about the next one? I mean,
not wanting.
Not wanting. And the next one?
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking. That's easy, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is in your book. Please complete the activity in your book. Let's have a couple of minutes for this and then we'll compare answers, okay?
Okay, perfect.
¿Está en el libro maestro de la página de la web de Cambridge o está en el otro?
Where are you at?
Estoy buscando. ¿Cuál es la página? ¿Está en el libro de texto que tenemos? No.
Page 31. Are you guys finished? Felipe, Darío, Leslie?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Ay, no. Ok, se quedó así. I don't understand. A constitution.
How are you guys doing? Are you finished?
Not yet.
I think I'm done.
You're good. Leslie.
Yes.
Guess what?
Yeah, I'm done. I guess.
Can you guys compare your answers, please?
Yes. The first one, the second paragraph starts with growing up.
Yes.
Okay, growing up in a family where money was tight. And the second one says, I used to feel really bad, not being able to afford, not being.
Yes. Let's see.
The next one says, now, experiencing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, bearing in mind.
Yeah.
Okay, third paragraph, coming, working, making of, and looking back.
Coming, working, making up, and looking back, yes. And next one, staying home and raising a family, not having a proper career, and thinking about it.
Yes.
Are you guys finished?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
So let's see, growing up, right? The first one is growing up. Growing up in a family where money was tight. Not being.
Yes.
Not being.
Yes, sorry.
Okay, not being able to afford. Now, this one. even though the exercises speak it like that, the more accurate expression would be having experience. Having experienced that, right? Because it's something, she's describing something that is in the past. Right? Yeah,
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yes, I got it.
So, having experienced that, and bearing in mind, perfect, good. The next one is coming from academic family,
working.
So making up my mind to do that. Looking back. And number 4 is staying home. Raising a family.
Not having.
Tengo que contestarte esa pregunta.
I mean, thinking about it. There. Now that's easy, right? That's good. Are there any questions?
No questions.
Leslie,
having no questions.
Having no questions, we proceed to the next activity.
No, please, ¿pueden ponerlo? Ay, es que, ay. Está grabada, ¿verdad? Sí.
Yes.
Ok, entonces lo puedo ver en la página del WhatsApp, ¿verdad?
En YouTube.
In the number 2, it will be expressed to or not? What do you think?
A better expression is having experienced. Yes. All right. Next.
Okay, va. Ya lo veré.
Now, write your view about each comment in exercise 2B. So this, you have sentence number 1, 2, 3, and 4, but complete it with your own comments. Your view. In your notebook or in a document, however you want to work. So go ahead. Please let me know when you are finished. How are you guys doing?
I don't have idea how to answer number 3. No, number 4. Number 4.
Right. You can actually erase what's in number 4 and you can describe your own position. You know, being a teacher or being a director or working as a consultant, etc. Whatever you have. For example, yeah, does that help? Yes, awesome.
Okay, I got it.
How are you guys doing?
I think I'm done.
Very good. Leslie, Ariadna, Felipe, how are you guys doing?
Not yet.
Yeah, I finished.
Ariadna, how about you?
Now I'm on the by now I'm on the phone, the cell phone. So I can't write the text. Or I don't know how.
You don't have to write on the screen. You can write it on your notebook, or
yes,
if you're working on a computer, you can do it on
I got the one sentence I want to see is correct. Nowadays, being a woman, I feel sometimes a certain pressure to get married and having children.
That's right. That's good. That's how you need to do the other 3. But let's go in sessions so you guys can share with your classmates, okay? I'm gonna pair you up twice. You're going to go in sessions once with one classmate, and then I'm gonna switch you. You're going to do it again with another classmate. Yes, guys, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go. There you go. Perfect. Thank you guys for coming back so soon. What was the most interesting comment you heard? Okay, I think Felipe wants to share something. What is the most interesting comment your classmates shared with you, mister?
I was thinking about it. Probably Ariadna and Dario, they talk about like, both of them say about coming from a big family or from a large family. I think they have an advantage, like celebrating Christmas, or I don't know what Dario said, but I think it's interesting. Like, it's a good point. I think it's different having a small family than a big family. So yeah, I think it was interesting to listen to them.
That means you have a small family.
I have a big family, but I don't see them. I mean, I stay with my close relatives, but we have a good relationship probably, but we don't see each other frequently. That's the point.
Not even in Christmas.
No.
All right.
We used to do it when my grandparents live, but nowadays, no, not really.
Parents live. Yes, it tends to happen, that's for sure. And it is interesting to have a large family when these events come up. Well, yes, please, I agree. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you.
No problem.
What about you guys? Ariadna, Dario, Leslie? What is the most interesting comment you heard?
I don't know. It's something about Leslie say. I don't know. She mentioned something about being home like a, I don't know, like a housekeeper and raising kids is really exhausted. It's so demanding.
Being a housekeeper is a job? You mean like a housewife?
As a housewife, sorry, housewife.
Okay. It's exhausting. Okay, thank you very much, Ariadna. Thank you. Dario, anything? Dario, can you hear us? Uh-oh, I don't know if he can hear us. All right, guys,
Hello?
that was, yes, mister, now I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Felipe mentioned something about growing up as a Mexican or being Mexican or something like that. He was supposed to follow traditions and stuff, right? And it made me laugh because that's what we are supposed to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're expected, right? We're expected to do so.
Right.
Yeah. For example, the altar. Do you guys raise an altar this time of year?
Not in my house.
Neither do I. And people all around are expecting us to do an altar.
Exactly.
which we don't, you know. Yeah,
exactly.
That's expectations. That's peer pressure. Yeah, we have to go through it. All right, guys, that's the end of the lesson 8. Let's go to break. Yes, let's come back. 6:15. What do you say?
Okay.
Okay.
At what time, teacher? Could you repeat again?
6:15.
Okay.
Yes. All right, let's go eat a little brunch and then we'll come back. Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you shortly.
Okay.